Hi, what's up, what's hanging, what's Gucci, and today, I am bringing you a different type of video because this is just too insane. Literally, this is just such a situation. I'm gonna tell you a story about a neighbour of mine. This is something that's happened a long time ago and is still continuing, and you may be thinking, Kiera, well, you must be making this now, like he must have moved away, assassinated, arrested. But oh no, he still lives in very close proximity to me, and that's terrifying. Am I still making the video? Yes, because at least if he sees this, he might stop, but at the same time, he seems like the kind of guy who likes the attention. And I also don't ever leave my house, so I don't have to worry about running into him anymore. Let's just get into it. Wow. When I first started YouTube, I told this story of this thing that was happening at the time and still continuing. However, it has now progressed and escalated into something much worse. When I told it at the time, it was like a minor story that I kind of like exaggerated out of proportion. But like now, it's really blown up. If you haven't seen the original, it doesn't even matter because nothing even really happened in it. Me and my mum live in this house on our own with the dog Sherlock, who you can follow on Instagram right here. Probably has more followers than you. Anyway, there's this dude and he lives on the road and we've just always gotten kind of like a weird feeling about him. But it wasn't anything too bad. Like my mum, she was kind of like alright with him. Like they were neighbourly to each other. They used to talk about like neighbourhood things and adult things and like kind of lawnmower, you used to cut your grass, just general stuff like that I don't understand. Until she realised that his kind of like friendship with her was getting a bit obsessive. Now bear in mind, this dude married and like 70. But he's not like an old like bent over like wheelchair 70-year-old. He's like an athletic 70-year-old. So that makes this all the more scary because he is capable of carrying and swinging a beheading axe or some type of weapon of human destruction. And that's the thing that scares me. If he was like bent over and pretty much on his deathbed and had like little scabs all over his body, like some old people, I wouldn't be too concerned, but like I'm concerned. She noticed their friendship was getting a little bit too close. They would never like go in each other's houses and speak to each other, but like whenever they were both outside in the front gardens at the same time, him and my mum would have conversations with each other just like about adult things, like the neighbourhood, like well, she started to notice that whenever she'd go outside, even if it was just like for 1 minute just to go and get something out of the car she'd left in there, he'd like rush out of his house and try and start a conversation with her. And at first she didn't really take much notice of it. She must have just thought like, oh, he's probably lonely, his wife's probably old, doesn't put out that much anymore. You know what I mean? He needs a pal. But then it got creepy. It escalated to the point where she is almost 100% certain, I wasn't there at the time, but she is almost 169% certain that he took a picture of her breasticles. Boobs. She was in the front garden, like bent down, sitting on our doorstep, stroking my dog. And it was the summer and everyone was outside and everyone was like, she was just like gardening and just like stroking the dog and stuff. And our other neighbour, who's like in the house attached next to us, was just there as well, talking to her. And they were just like chilling, like being adults and like drinking wine. It was like at 10 a.m. And he all of a sudden, he just comes over. He's just like, oh hi, how are you doing? What's up? And I kind of like, hi, okay, go back to your own cave now. You can't sit with us! He just like starts talking about the dog and like the garden, and all of a sudden he whips out his little phone and she hears the camera shutter go. And she says, at this point, she was bent over. She had like a vest on. You know, it's like the slutty things that I wear in all my videos to like get my boobs out in the thumbnail. Yeah, she was wearing one of them. She was bent over, so you know, things were visible. And she was stroking the dog. And she thought, did you just take a picture of me? And he was like, oh no, I was just, bleh, and then scuttled away. He didn't even have an explanation. He just like, and then just like scuttled away to his house. And my other neighbour, who was like with her at the time, tried to convince my mom, like, he just took a picture of your titties. He just full on took a picture of your breasticles. Does this make sense? Yeah. So this is like where it got kind of wild. The crazy part is that he didn't learn from that and he did it again. She was just talking to him and all of a sudden he just whips out his phone and takes a picture and it makes the camera shutter sound like, dude. It's like when you see a cute guy in public and you go to take a picture and then you realise the flash is on and then you're like, he just like wasn't learning and he was just so brazen. And that's what's scary about it. Like he's just not trying to hide the fact that he's doing weird creepy things like this. My mother, she's quite the bad bitch. Like she doesn't really take anyone's misbehaviour, including mine. And so she confronts him. She's like, yo, you just took a picture of me, famalam. She didn't say it quite like that, but he was like, oh no I didn't. and she starts screaming at him, and then he scuttles off to his house again. They're not talking at this point. They've had a couple of arguments about various different stuff because he was just being a general creep. Like, their friendship gone. Okay, so now I kind of need to describe his house to you so that you understand like why this is weird. Ever since the whole stalking thing and him like leaving his house just to like watch her or talk to her happen, he made some modifications to his windows. Being, okay, I'm gonna draw a diagram. Here's a window, a standard typical window. Normal people, they'll have some blinds, maybe they'll have some curtains. This dude, he has a blind and it comes down to like here, and then he has a pole here, and from that pole hangs a blanket. And then, to make it weirder, there are curtains here. And then another blind that covers the whole thing, leaving the only space you can see from. I understand that this makes no sense. It looks like an anus. Okay. So, that's important because that's his peek hole. That's what he sees out of. And you may be thinking, Kiera, maybe he just likes his privacy. But it's literally only on one window out of the 4 front-facing windows of his house. It's one window. The window that he has been caught staring from many times. And that window is just always shut unless we have left the house. If we go outside in the car to drive somewhere, he'll open the window to hear us, like to hear what we're talking about, to hear where we're going. It's bruh, stop. I thought my mother was being paranoid for the longest time. I was like, no one cares about you that much. You're not Justin Bieber. She proved something to me. She says, okay, he never opens a window unless we go out so he can hear what we're saying. She said, we're gonna go out, come back inside, and I need you to run to our window in our house, look up at his window, and watch him shut it. We leave our house, his window is open. We come back, his window is still open. She lingers a little while I come inside, go to my living room window, look up at his window, and then she shuts the front door and comes inside. And the second she does that, his little creepy, veiny, old person arm stretches out, shuts it, and he turns the light off. I get that you're obsessive, but what do you even get out of hearing someone's car door shut and them just brum off into the distance? Like, does he just like get off to that? And so many times we've seen like the reflection of his glasses up in his window, just like watching, and it's so weird. And it gets worse. He'd do creepy things like, so before I kind of dropped out of school, my mum would leave at a certain time every single day to pick me up. And at that exact time every single day, he'd leave and just walk to the local shop or something. And we thought, okay, maybe it's just a coincidence, like it's a popular time for people to like start their day. We changed the time that we regularly leave, like 20 minutes before, and we started doing that for a week. He also adjusted his schedule to that. I decided, you know what, there's no need for me to really be going into school early anymore. I'll wait till the very last minute at 8:30 before I need to be in there. I don't like that place anymore, evil Satan. And she was like, alright, okay, we'll leave at 8:30 instead of 7:30. Not really thinking about him. We leave at 8:30 and he walks out of his door. Every time we'd leave, he would also leave, no matter what time it was. And we'd change our leaving time so often just to be sure. What? I just don't get what he gets out of just like slightly watching me for 30 seconds. It's just weird. I'm just getting so heated. And you know what bothers me the most is like, I'm telling you all of this stuff like as it happened, but as this stuff was happening, I didn't believe it. I was just so naive. I was like, there's no way there's some dude stalking us. And my mum was trying to convince me like, Kiera, fam, yeah there is. He's not being harmful. The fact that he's so brazen, it kind of scares me. Like, yeah, you're definitely gonna come to my house one night with a machete and I'm gonna see you standing over my bed and then you're just gonna impale me with it, aren't you? Yes, you probably are. That's what scares me. Like, if I randomly get stabbed one night, you know who it is. And I'm mostly making this video. If you see this, please stop. Like, personally, I don't really care. It would be really great if you didn't stab me. Like, I've got a lot of life to live. But, you need to, like, stop. Just for me to shut my mother up about this because it's so annoying. We haven't even got to the weirdest bit yet. It's not even just us this is happening to, and there's some really creepy stories from other neighbours that we've heard as well. It just won't stay. Why is this happening? Okay, we're just gonna have to look at that. Okay, wait, here's one of the weirdest ones yet. My next door neighbour had been purposely growing his bush, and that sounds terrible. So my mom was like to my neighbour, yo, can you just like grow your hedge that you have in front of your house a little bit higher up so that this dude can't like watch over into our garden anymore? This creepy stalker dude from over the road comes over and said to my next door neighbour, who he has no friendship with, so when you're gonna cut this down? You cannot control other people's hedges! Like, it wasn't even like noticeably much bigger. It was just like, oh, you can't watch over into our garden anymore, big. You know what I mean? Like, no one else would have noticed. Please someone explain that. Him and my mum got into this massive fight because like she finally confronted him about being kind of pervert, and he just sort of like didn't even deny it. He just sort of like did that. It was just like really weird. So they didn't speak at all. It's Christmas time, and this guy, he's obviously not going to give us a Christmas card because my mother literally made it clear to him and she absolutely despises him and she doesn't want him to come anywhere near her ever again. We get a card through the door and we open it and it's from him. Is it to us? No, it's to a different neighbour. And you may be thinking, well, Kiera, he could have just got confused. I don't see how he could get confused. Like, this dude's lived there for like 20 years. He knows the neighbours, he knows who lives where, and there's no way he'd even come near to my house after everything that happened. Like, it wasn't a mix-up. It's not like he gave someone else a card that was meant for us because he didn't write one for us. And it was literally just an opportunity for him to like come near the house. And I just find that so creepy. And that just makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, I had to sanitize my hands after touching that card. Okay, so the neighbours where I live, they kind of all talk to each other. His like back garden is connected to a bunch of other people's back gardens as well, like fences. You know what I mean? One day, one neighbour whose garden is like facing onto his was looking out their kitchen window, and all of a sudden they see his head come over the fence, and it's like a 6-foot fence, so he must have been on a ladder, and he was just staring into someone else's kitchen window, like a young female's kitchen window. So that's when we realised it's not just us. What do you even do about that? Like, yo dude, stop staring. But at the same time, you don't want to like mess with people like that because like they're the kind of people that's gonna like turn around and like whip an AK out and just like you're dead. I hope he doesn't see this video, but at the same time, like, yo bitch, what is your problem? Can you please stop stalking people and being a freak? Because it's really bothering my mother, and when my mother's bothered, you know what? She bothers me. Do me a solid, stalk someone else for a little while, actually for a long while, or you could just move to a different planet. That would be ideal. There is a planet, I think it's called Mars, there is no oxygen there. Try that. It's really getting on my nerves. That's it really. That's all that's happened so far. He hasn't really stopped, but he's eased off. Like, he goes through phases of it. Maybe he just got bored. Let me know if you've had any weird, creepy experiences like this in the past or right now. I'm feeling super spooned out right now. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of calmed down. I don't really know what else to say. Okay, goodbye.